Welcome to Essential Money Talks on this very Tuesday morning. This is our 5th episode of Essential Money Talks. And today we have a special guest, Sarah Kirk.
Hi.
She is a friend here from Brisbane and would love to hear you. This is an interactive Essential Money Talk. So if you want to comment or ask a question, just go in, tap on the actual live video. It will open up a chat box and you can actually tap, just so I know that you're there and I can actually interact with you as well. So I'm just going to get that up so I can see and see. Anyway, okay, Sarah. So tell me a little bit about you. And I want you to start with the question, what were your first memories of money or first experiences that kind of set your mindset, which might have served you well or may not have served you well as a little?
My first memories of money would have to be, we grew up on a farm and we owned a snack bar. And so as children, we had to work a lot to be able to earn what it was that we to be able to earn some money, which is something that does serve me well. It was something that I learned really hard early in life, is that we had to work for what we wanted and what we needed. But some of the things that I think I learned too at that young age that probably didn't serve me well was that spending money on wants wasn't smart money. Spending ideas. We had to really I learned to just kind of save and hoard my money and not really do anything with it. There was never any, I guess, talk or direction around, how to spend it, how to budget, how to piece things together in a way that was, I guess, a healthy mindset around that money. It was just, you make it, you keep it, and you spend it when you absolutely have to.
Okay, that's very interesting because, people allow money to control them rather than them in control. So if you don't give your money a job, then it's controlling you.
Mm.
I remember talking to someone in a workshop I did, and she said, my fridge is not working too well, and I have the money in the bank. I just can't depart with that money. And I'm thinking, okay, you're giving your money way too much. Money is a vehicle to give us joy, to sustain our life, number one, but then also to give us some joy and fun.
But even when we have our money ideas and our money mindset now is so much different, having been through this spending funner journey. And but our trampoline mat broke this week, and straight away, because I had just done the grocery shopping and just spent a great deal of money on food, my whole brain just went, we can't afford to replace this mat. And it wasn't until I was going to bed that night that I turned around to my husband and said, I know that we said that we can't afford it, but we can. The money's there. We need to replace this so that my 2.5-year-old has some joy in life.
Yes. Okay. So let's take you back. So you've just given a thing, one of the benefits that you have of a spending plan. I want to take you back to prior spending plan days, which was, I think I worked with you in 2019, and you had the traditional budget.
Yeah.
Tell me your experience, your financial story, and what it was like. And you have, a growing family.
Yeah.
What was your experience?
So we made some smart money decisions, I guess, straight off the bat when it came to getting married and choosing not the extravagant honeymoon, but to be able to purchase a modest home and be able to do some renovations on that home and build skills around that area. and we always tried really hard to live within our means, to not have credit card debt, and to just make sure that we could, have the necessities of life. But there was very little joy I felt in those necessities, because there wasn't any fun. We had no extra. There wasn't money to go on a holiday, or there wasn't money to even to, I don't know, go get a massage once, every 6 months, or anything like that. It was just, counting every penny. And I'm sure that most newlyweds kind of feel that way.
Yeah. And would you go back and do it differently? And if so, how would you do it differently? Or do you look back and think, I'm glad we did that then?
Oh, I certainly learned a lot through that process, but it still kind of solidified those childhood memories of you just save and save and save and spend very little. And so, and that too can also be a bit of a detriment. I did have that bit of a mentality of, I like to find a bargain, which is great, but that bargain's got to be a fair bargain at the same time, not trying to rip somebody off in the process. So I think what really kind of made what was our biggest struggle was when we hit the GFC, and my husband was made redundant twice in the year. And we had just moved into a brand new house that we had built. I was still studying, so there was not much that I could do work-wise to help our situation. He felt he got very deflated, I guess, in his own abilities because of the way that things had kind of happened, and we ended up with quite a large credit card debt. I guess going from no debt to some debt. I don't want to feels large. It probably wasn't large comparatively.
That's called the bad type of debt. Yeah, the good type of debt is the mortgage, because that's an asset.
Yeah.
Credit cards are bad because anything you put on a credit card loses value,
right?
Or at least the house gains value over time. So
correct. Yeah. So I think that it took us a good 10 years, I guess, to kind of get on top of that. And to eradicate that debt, and that didn't come through until we sat with you and worked through our spending planner and looked at how we could make that a reality for us. And since then, it's just been wonderful, just being able to see a forward-thinking plan for our money, and to be able to go, okay, this is what we want to plan, this is what we want to do, this is what we've got coming up. I've got a primary schooler who starts high school next year. I'm able to put in, private high school fees. What's that going to do to our budget? Where is that going to take us? And that's been, a really wonderful blessing for our family.
So looking into the future, and so what do you think was right before you contacted me, what was the biggest money stress you had at that point?
Definitely that credit card debt. That was definitely, it was the only debt that we had other than our home. We owned our car outright. We had everything else under control. I had made a conscious decision to not keep a credit card a couple of years prior to that. So we weren't actually using it, but we were still paying it off. And we just felt like we were just not making any headway on it. We still felt like there was no money to do anything other than, just live the bare necessities of life. And that wasn't true. That wasn't true. And I know that our circumstances in that process changed as I finished university, and was able to get a little bit of part-time work, and Andrew was obviously able to find another job. But it was just being able to have that forward look as to where we go, and making those conscious financial plans for our future.
So when Greg and I were building this home, and our family home, and we had a very strict budget, I'll tell you this and don't be jealous, but we bought some land in Narangba in 95 for $50,000. And there were plots that were like 52, but no, we kept to the $50,000 plot. Now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, because we have a very little frontage. So when our family comes to visit, there's no place to park. They have to park first. But anyway, we bought this thing for that. And in preparation to that, we had to have a strict budget. We're on a budget that time. And so we gave each other $10 a week while we were building our house because we had to have some personal splurge money. And it was only $10. And I remember saving, and the thing I said initiative that I copied you. At that time, your dad, he had an office, he was selling all the sheepskin stuff. And I really wanted some sheepskin slippers. But I saved my $10 and I bought some fake ones, some fake sheepskin. I saved 3 weeks worth and I bought them. That was so satisfying to me. So I got something. And I think when you're talking about when you were first married, it is so important. Yes, you have to, that's the hard, you're really saving a lot, but you do have to give yourself some little bit so that when my husband saw a Snickers bar wrapper in the car, because we only had one car, he's not thinking, why did you buy a Snickers? Or why did you buy a McDonald's? We knew that it would have come from our personal $10 and it was guilt-free spending. We were a happy spender with that $10.
Yeah.
And that was a good thing. And then of course we increased it a little bit once we built our home.
Yeah, we've tried that. We tried that so many times, through that time and it always ended up being guilt spending. It was always the first thing to go because that was my childhood mentality I should not be using this money on myself. There's so many other areas that need that focus and it's only over the last few years that I've been able to get into that mentality of this is my money and I can use it as I wish to.
I was raised, my dad was like a penny pincher, and that's how I was. It's like he used to ask me 3 questions. Do you need it? There's 3 questions. I just remember the first one, do I need it? And it was always no, and so and so, yeah, it's amazing how we carry those. I was saying to Sarah earlier that my childhood memory was we moved into this neighborhood. I was like 5. There were some people on the street who had a pool. So I automatically thought, you are rich. So if you're rich, then I'm poor. We're poor. So that was my thing. And so it's amazing. We have to challenge what we think about money and reclaim it because we are in control. And a spending plan lets you organize. This, I'm going to give myself so much a week or whatever. And it is guilt-free spending and the difference between doing that in a spending plan and a budget is you can see the effects that it's not going to affect you in the future, that $10, where with the budget, you're really not sure. You're kind of guessing. And you talk about credit card debt, and it's really sad, but a lot of people don't understand interest rates with credit cards. They just say, oh, it's only 25%. But if you got a $10,000 credit card and you just paid the minimum, it would take you 36 years and would cost $64,000 if you initially only put $10,000 on that and just kept paying didn't put any more, but you just take 36 years, $64,000, you would be a grandparent by then. Can you imagine what you could do with $64,000? But people don't understand that. And that's one thing I help is teach people, if you have debt, like Sarah and Andrew, get out of it as soon as you can. And then, so now tell me, when you want something, what do you do now as opposed to prior when maybe you put it on a credit card?
Well, we have a $25 a fortnight personal spending amount that's in our spending planner now. So that pays for whenever Andrew feels like buying lunch instead of taking lunch from home, or I save mine and try not to spend it on my children. and then usually, it might be a piece of clothing that I don't necessarily need, that doesn't come out of our clothing budget, that I'll purchase. Or at the moment, it's my 40th birthday this year, so I'm kind of just hoarding that money to hopefully do something nice for myself for my 40th. And so that's been wonderful. We have, what was the question again?
My memory is worse than yours because I'm older than you, so I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat can tell us what the question was. I asked someone a question the other day at a networking group. I asked him, it took him about 15 seconds to answer it, and he gave me this answer, and I turned to him, I said, what was my question? I had forgotten in that 10 seconds.
Oh yeah, the other things, that's right, I remember the question now. The other things that we have are, we have the all of our accounts set up as to be able to have all of the necessities and the things that we know that are coming gone, and then we have like a bit of a rotational system of what we do with the rest of that money. So if we have additional money that kind of comes in, then it might, one time we might put extra into our savings, another time we might put extra into our holiday account, another time we might put extra into our innovation account, so that we've got a little bit of a system of how that money can work for us in a better format.
Like a plan B. Yeah. Because sometimes you get extra bonus or extra things, so you have that. And Sarah learned effective bank structure, which is, we have a bills account, which takes care of all your bills as well as all your regular expenses. Then you have your FFFI, which is your spending money. And once it's gone, what happens, Sarah?
It's gone.
It's gone, and no more spending until next week. And then you have your big bad wolf account, which protects you against him coming to your house, because we're little piggies. And so that is for those emergencies, those little emergencies. And then we have the long-term savings replacement account, which is for those things that you're going to have to replace in the next 10 years, like your fridge, or you might have to get a new mattress. Get our head out of the sand, put it in the plan. The plan will just let you know how much a week that we automatically transfer to that account. And it just is there ready. So when those things come to due, they're there. And then, of course, like Sarah mentioned, your savings, savings for a holiday or savings for a first home deposit, whatever it is. And so to have different accounts that protect your money from you, because that's why we only carry the FFI card around, because once that money's gone, it's gone, and we just need to wait. And so what would you say? Let me hear your explanation, and this will be a good. Give us a definition between the difference between a budget and a spending plan.
Okay, so a budget works with, I guess, what you have now, what you can currently see. You've got, you earn this certain amount every week or every fortnight, and you're going to divvy it up between X, Y, Z. A spending planner is for future thinking. So it allows, the main difference that I noticed is how it tells us what we need right now to make our spending planner work. And so for people who were constantly working in the past, it was a struggle initially to start that future thinking, I guess, mindset for the future of how that spending planner works. And it took us probably a good couple of months to get our head around it. But as we started to see it piecing together every week, as we spent our time together and got onto the spending planner and had a look at how things were moving and functioning, and watched that negative red amount start to get less and less per week, it became really, really exciting. It's actually one of my favorite things to do every week now, is to sit down with the spending planner and have a look at where things are at.
So in the way pre-spending plan and post-spending plan, what is your relationship with your husband in regards to money? Is there a different dynamic?
It's yeah, most definitely. Like I had always been the person who had worked on our budget. As more children kind of came, and as I got a part-time job, it became this really cumbersome kind of event every week of, I don't have the headspace for this. I can't remember all of these things. This is all it's just getting too much and too hard. And I passed the buck and just said to him, you're going to be responsible. I've done it for the last 10 years. It's now your turn. And so he took that over, on top of working full time and doing all the wonderful things he does. And it became hard for him because it was exhausting trying to remember when everything is due and remember, you know, what was coming out when, and were we going to have enough money to, you know, to have a full budget for food that week or not. And so he, when we started working with the spending planner, it was just so simple and easy to use. It just helped us to, we started off having like actual date nights with sitting down together and going through it. And as we kind of, like I said, watch that, you know, that negative red line of head into a green, beautiful, you have, you know, extra money concept.
Yes.
It was just so exciting. And, you know, those few times where we ended up in the green and we would do something nice to celebrate together. We, you know, went out to dinner a couple of times and things like that. And then, and now it's just, you know, this very quick and easy thing that we do every week, where I kind of sit down and piece it all together and go, right, this is what it looks like now. And he comes over and has a look, and if, you know, I've altered things and changed things and, you know, it comes up with some kind of, you know, red negative number, you know, 3 or 4 months down the line, he's like, why is that negative? What is it that pushes us over? And we'll go and have a look and we'll see what we can tweak together. And yeah, it's just nice and quick and easy.
Is. You know, you can do it in less than 10 minutes. I do mine every month, say 10 minutes a month, because we get paid monthly. And yes, you can see she's referring, you see your future 12 months, like a crystal ball, what all your bank balances will be to make sure that everything is going to be covered. And so you'll see if it's short in the future, but that's in the future. You can do something about it. Where with the budget, you don't have a plan. There is no plan. You can't see it, just is guessing, and you just make the mistake and then you have to go and fix it. Where this one really does. I wanted to, I remember too that you, and I think you're currently renovating your bathroom or something. But I know
the renovation that never ends.
Yes, but I know with your husband that, you know, and you're paying for that. You're not putting that on credit. You're not getting a loan. You're saving, you're doing like a happy spender does. And like I tell you, you plan to do that. Let's save, and then you spend. And so you're a great example to so many people that you don't have to have it here and now. Yes, you want it here and now, but that's not financially smart. Yeah. And we need to be patient.
Yeah, I also remember sharing a little ensuite with, you know, 6 people for almost 12 months isn't fun.
Yes. Exactly. Can you
do what we need to?
There was you mentioned once about your daughter coming up to you. She wanted to go to a birthday party or something. And in the past, you know how us mothers, and I was one of those prior to a spending plan, your answer was always no. It was, if they asked for any, no, we can't afford it. No, we can't afford it. And you told me an experience. You remember where she came up to you shortly after you had created your spending plan, and you were able to give her a different answer.
I was. We set up date night accounts for each of the children, and so we ended up. Yeah, it was. I think the one that you're referring to is anytime we went out, she would, you know, they might ask for a drink at McDonald's or something like that, and my answer was always no, we can't afford it. And I remember after we set up the spending plan and she asked, and I just said, I went to say no, and straight away I went, hang on a minute, this could be, a little bit of a date between you and her. And I was able to say, yes, we can go and do that. And I don't know who was more shocked, her or me.
Yeah, exactly. And that is it. It's a spending plan. And so you put in all the things you have to spend your money, but you put the things you want to spend your money on. And because you put it in over time, it's there and you're saving for it throughout the whole 12 months, you can really get whatever you want if you plan for it first. Now, you can put in, hey, I want to go on a holiday. You may say, I want to go in 1 year's time, but the plan may say, no, you can't go in 1 year's time, but you might be able to go in 18 months time. And so it's not saying no, because that's the difference between a budget and a spending plan. A budget is income and expenses, and any budget that you do, they start out with your expenses and you list they start out with income and they list their expenses till you go to zero. And most budgets do not include the unexpected and the long-term replacement things. Then there's the spending plan, which is we focus more on your expenses because as we have learned in 2020, 2021, expenses, especially if you lose your job or decreased hours, that is what's more important, more stable than what your income is. But it adds in the timing of your income and expenses. And that's what makes a dramatic difference and what can take you from money stress, from guessing what a budget is. It says it should be possible to pay your expenses, but we're just kind of guessing, to a spending plan is, yes, 100% truth. You can, and I'll even show you how you can pay your expenses, and you can see your bank balances for the next 12 months to prove that you can have those things.
I think that's been one of the biggest happy moments, I think, with this plan is I know that I was heading down the same path of bad money mindset with my own children. Every time I opened my mouth and said, we can't afford that, they had that same mentality that you had, with the people who had pools. We're poor. We can't afford anything. And that's the mentality that they had. And one of the big language changes that I've been able to use is we can't afford that right now. And for them to go, to have that hope and understanding of, oh, okay, so right now it's not okay, but in the future we might be able to do something along those lines.
When your kids start their first job or start working, that's the best time to give them a spending plan. And you can actually use it in yours initially, but it's best is to get them to get their own spending plan and teach them, because they aren't being taught money at school. So, as a parent, we have a responsibility. We teach our kids are going to become good money managers or bad money managers. The choice is with the parents, whether your child becomes a good money manager or a bad money manager. And so the school's not going to teach them. We have to do it. And so you and Andrew are great money managers now. And so you will naturally teach your children to be good money managers and help them avoid, if you can imagine, if you had the spending plan when you had your first job, or even when you were first married, how different would your financial story be?
We actually have the children's long-term savings in our...
She may jump back in. And so, it's been lovely working with Sarah and Andrew. I remember the debt that they had, that was a real stress to them, was their credit card debt. And they got that sorted very quickly. And usually most of the people will get their debts taken care of in like 6 months or less. And then they start putting money away into savings and learning to avoid the debt trap again. Okay. Get out of debt. You do not have to get into debt. Basically, the only thing to get into debt is a home. And even some people pay cash for that. But anything else, cars, anything, renovations can all be done by having a plan first and being patient while you save it, and then you can happily spend. I invite each of you to become a happy spender, and maybe she won't be back on. But anyway, I want to thank Sarah for being so open and candid about sharing her story about how a spending plan has helped their family. Now, in just about less than a half an hour, I'll be doing an online webinar, and the link will be in the link below. And it's just an information session. So if this is making you curious about a spending plan and you want to learn more, then check out the link and join me live for that. Now, I do have these webinars every Tuesday after following this at 12:30 Brisbane time, and then also at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday night for an hour. So there's 2 times, day or evening, that you can come in and I can just give you an overview on the difference between a budget and spending plan and show you the benefits of a spending plan, because I've had mine for 19 years and I don't worry about finances. And when we started 19 years ago, we had 5 children under the age of 12, and then they went through their teenage years, which is the most expensive time in a family's life. And here comes Sarah back. And yeah, it was really helped us to, it eliminated all our money stress. There was no guessing about it. We knew, and we even, we went on many holidays and things because we knew we had the thing. So welcome back, Sarah. I was just filling in the time.
I think,
and I'm impressed that you came back on.
I think my laptop charger has actually decided to not be friendly anymore. So
right, okay. Well,
it was plugged in and then it just all disappeared. So, and I'm
sure that's in your spending plan. If nothing else, that would come out of the Big Bad Wolf account, because that is something that you need. That's what the Big Bad Wolf is, emergencies of things you need, because you need to do that for, internet's important today. So I just wanted to thank you so much for your honesty and for sharing your experience. I want you to just finish by those who are wondering if it's a good investment or in regards to creating a spending plan, what you would say to them, and then just a couple words that, punch words of you would describe your spending plan now.
Okay. I can't recommend it enough. I think it's been one of the most wonderful things that my family has actually been able to invest in, and for such a small, a small amount of time that it takes to set up, and the small financial investment that it is to set up. It makes life so much simpler. I'm able to gain back my brain space of being able to not have to think about when bills are due and what's coming out, etc. What I was saying when I rudely got cut off by my laptop was that my 11-year-old, who is very mathematically minded and loves his money, it's one of his favorite things to do each week is to come and look over my shoulder as I'm working on the spending planner and see where money is going and see what it's doing and how it's working. And we have our children's online savers sitting inside our spending planner, and so he's able to see how his is moving with his pocket money and what it's doing, and that gets him really excited. And if there is a little bit of a red marker there, he wants to know why. Why is there a red marker there, Mum? Explain to me. So that's, it's wonderful actually to see them having such healthy ideas around money and being able to utilize their money in a lot more practical ways than I did at their age. And then I think for me, my punchy line around my spending planner is just gotta love it. Like you can't not love it. It's just so simple and easy and helpful, and I just am so grateful that I have that there is a platform like this to be able to make somebody like me, who's not so mathematically minded like my son, simple and easy to understand and easy and simple to use. So
much for that. It really is life-changing. It's funny because you're talking that it's fun, and most people are thinking, they're experiencing stress and anxiety and arguing with their partners, and they're thinking money is not fun in my life. With the spending plan, I can help you make it fun. That's why I love what I do, because it's fun. I help people take people from money stress to money success and have total financial peace. And we love talking about our money. And so I invite each of you, again, I'm going to be going into a webinar shortly that you can join in to learn more about it. But again, thank you, Sarah, for joining us today. And I look forward in the next few weeks, I'm going to be talking to your sister, and she also has some great stories and benefits. She's a mother of 5 children. And so she was in that age where they were all at home. That's an expensive time. And that's when she started her spending plan and her story. So we look forward to that in the coming weeks. So thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
And I'm glad you're a happy spender like me. And to everybody else, choose financial freedom. It is a choice. And using the spending plan is the answer. Okay. See you next week.